Oh boy. So we got Carnosaur, 1993. Came out around the same time as Jurassic Park, I guess, trying to capitalize on the whole dinosaur situation. The only difference is Jurassic Park was well done, like incredibly, and like is one of my favorite movies ever. And this one looked like it had a budget of like $8. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's not. It's bad. Anyway, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about the general concept of the movie because I'll be completely honest, I was kind of like drifting in and out of it, so it didn't really hold my attention too far. So I might get some things wrong, but I'm going to do my best to recap as best as I can. So, yeah, so essentially there's this bio research facility who are like genetically engineering stuff, like chickens are the thing that they're working on. I guess they're trying to make like a better breed of chicken or whatnot. And there's one scientist who, her name is, what is it, Jane Tiptree or something. I'm just gonna call her Jane. She's the main genetic researcher who's creating these variants of chickens and whatnot. But they're dinosaurs. Like, she's making dinosaurs. It's okay. So I'm just gonna add, like, this was a book apparently before it was a movie. I believe the book was before the Jurassic Park book as well. I could be wrong. So I guess you can't really say they're ripping off Jurassic Park, but it's the timing for the film is like dead on. So again, yeah, they're going for the anyway, whatever, that doesn't matter. So genetic researcher making dinosaurs. The plot's I'm so sorry, guys. I just really wasn't into this one. You got your main character, his name's Doc. He's like he works in the quarry or whatever, and there's a local eco group that is trying to stop the excavating, because it's apparently that area is like a dinosaur highway, so there are like tons of fossils and whatnot. Lots of like prehistoric artifacts or whatever that this dig is just basically destroying it all. So that's the story essentially. Doc ends up hearing them mucking about, trying to like, sabotage the machinery or something. Chases them off with a gun. Most of them get away, but one of them is caught, and this is a character named Anne, who, upon introducing herself, is like, yeah, I used to be Anne, but now I'm Thrush. And even he laughs. He's like, okay, Thrush, sure. So she's Thrush. And they, like, despite the fact that she was trying to, like, eco-terrorize, dismantle all of his equipment, they're, like, buddy almost at this, like, almost instantly. They're, like, chatting, and I don't know, it's a surreal situation. Because the eco-terrorists, not eco-terrorists, they're not terrorists, I shouldn't, eco-group, activist, whatever you want to call them, comes back, and they all chain themselves to his equipment and stuff, and he's just like, I'm not dealing with this. Yeah. Anyway, before this point, there are a bunch of attacks. There's like some teens that are off-roading in a Jeep, obviously. One goes to take a piss and is attacked while the other two bang in the car, and they are also killed. And because, you got to get that trope out of the way. Then there's like a team that's supposed to go and capture the one that's escaped. So what happened is a truck left this plant. It's called Eunice, the group that, like the genetics chicken group or whatever. I think that's what it was. Anyway, truck leaves the facility with eggs, and apparently one of the like Carnosaurs is on the truck with the chickens, and so he sees all the chickens are out of their cages, and he pulls off the side of the road, and he opens the door. He's like, what's going on in here? And he's attacked by this like raptor Carnosaur thing, which that's how it escapes, and that's how it kills the Jeep crew and all that. And eventually, yeah, the task team to capture this creature consists of 2 guys, so that's pretty good. They are fodder basically for this creature too, so they're toast. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then Doc, who oh, there's another weird scene. Okay, so there's this like CEO, I think, of the group that owns Eunice or whatever. I don't think he's fully aware of what's going on until later in the movie, but he's like trying to sell his genetically modified food or whatever to the senator, and he's giving him pie. But he's like sprawled on the table like a teenager, like talking on the phone with his legs in the air. It's really ridiculous. And he's like right up in the pie as the senator's eating. And he's like, yeah, so by the way, there's like goat embryonic fluid in here. And the senator is disgusted, obviously. But that was just a really weird scene. Like, why is he sprawled on the table, lying on his stomach with his face? That was so bizarre. Very interesting choice for that scene. Right, okay, so where was I? So, yeah, this whole situation is going on. Then the eco-activist group or whatever gets chained to the car, and they're, of course, attacked by this Carnosaur. It's like a small one. Meanwhile, some, like, wound samples are being looked into by the sheriff and the forensics department. This guy, Dr. Raven, he's looking at them and he's like, yeah, there's like DNA here, and they send it away and it turns out it's like chicken DNA, and they're like, okay, that's like a large chicken. It doesn't make any sense, but it does to us who are watching it, because the chickens are basically the base form for DNA that they used to create these dinosaurs or something like that. Also, there's a subplot this whole time. There's like a virus going around, so everyone's getting sick. It turns out that this virus targets, I believe it's mainly females, and the women who get this virus become impregnated with dinosaurs and lay eggs and die in birth usually. And it's like, okay, and they actually show this happening. There's a man who, there's a roadblock and he pulls up and there's all these guys in like hazmat suits, like, this is a quarantine area. It's like, oh my god, my wife is like really sick. And so they take her and he's like, thanks guys, and they just shoot him on the side of the road, and the woman gives birth to the dinosaur egg. And it's like, okay, so that's the thing that happens now. Throughout the movie there's statistics of showing like a percentage of infected cells, and it keeps getting higher and higher and higher, and eventually this comes to the CEO's attention, the table sprawl blueberry guy. And he's like, what? Jane is doing this research, but she's like getting out of hand or something. He didn't know, apparently, that she was making dinosaurs or something like that, or maybe he did, I don't know. Anyway, he's shocked regardless, and at this point, yeah, the eco group is attacked by the dinosaur. Thrush survives and is hurt, but like lived or got away somehow. She's inside like a bobcat. Speaking of bobcats, there are like 3 or 4 different points in the movie where they just go on about bobcats. Like the first attack, oh, it's a bobcat attack. And then there's a scene in a diner and he's like, oh, it's all these bobcat attacks. And it's like, okay. And later there's another scene, but I'm not going to say it right now because we're going to try to go in at least like a quasi chronologically correct order. I'm not really, because again, this movie was, it kind of lost my train of thought. So again, I'm trying to piece together what I remember. Anyway, Thrush injured. He takes her into the trailer. She is sick now too. She's sweating bullets, and he's like, okay, so I gotta figure this out. So he leaves her and goes on a little adventure and comes across the truck of the 2 like mercenary guys who are supposed to capture this dinosaur and bring it back, and he sees they're dead, and he's like, oh, that's interesting. So he puts on their gear and like radios Jane saying, okay, we got the creature, I'm coming in. And so he goes to the base. I guess maybe it's like on GPS or something, but it's 93, so I don't know. Anyway, he gets there and he poses as one of these guys, and as soon as Jane sees him, he pulls a gun on her, and it's one of the dead guys in the thing, not the dinosaur, so that's great. She reveals her whole plan essentially to him, and she's like, okay, so think of it this way. I was working in this company, all we're doing is like cancerizing Earth and like destroying it, and Earth wasn't meant for men, it was meant for dinosaurs. So Her plan is to bring back dinosaurs to eliminate humans, not taking into account how it would affect the biodiversity of every other species. She only wants to kill humans, not any other animals, just humans. But releasing dinosaurs into the world would severely disrupt the ecosystem, but I guess she doesn't take that into account, or, you know, whatever. Anyway, her assistant is sick too, and asks if she can go home while she's being held at gunpoint, and she's like, okay, come up though. And Doc's just like, okay, what the hell's going on? Anyway, she's sick. She gives birth to a dinosaur, and Doc's like, okay, this is really fucked up. And I guess he's thinking, oh shit, I guess Thrush is sick too. I wonder if this... Anyway. She takes the egg, the assistant dies, she brings it to the lab, Doc follows. There's all, like, a whole incubator system set up with these eggs all, you know, put up everywhere, and he's like, okay, there's got to be a serum for this virus. You give me the serum, or I'm gonna start making omelets. He says, which is a pretty good line. I'll give him that. She doesn't want to do it, so he shoots one of the eggs, and then he gets the serum. It's like, okay, well, that was easier than anticipated. So he leaves. Oh, there was a scene earlier with one of the co-workers. I guess his daughter got killed. I think his daughter was one of the Jeep people. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, he's involved with Eunice Corp or whatever, and Jane says that, oh, we found your daughter and she's actually okay. And he's like, oh my god, really? And she says, yeah, she's just down this corridor. You can see her. She's in intensive care. And he goes down this corridor, and it's all like these laser guide walls, and he touches it and it burns his hand. He's like, what the hell? And then there's a T-Rex. So T-Rex eats him. Because, you know. Anyway, as Doc is escaping with the serum, he enters that same room trying to leave the facility. And Jane, in all this, turns off all the lasers, and the T-Rex is loose, and it, you know, roars and does its thing. He ends up getting away, climbs up to the roof. The T-Rex is smashing its head into, like, the concrete wall, trying to escape the facility, which eventually it does. Oh my god. All this while, Jane is now pregnant with a dinosaur, and so she, like, preps herself. She's like, okay, we're gonna give birth to this egg. I'll add one more thing to my collection. But it, like, aliens out of her, like, stomach, and so she's dead. So she doesn't birth it. She's the lucky one that gets, like, a forced C-section from inside by the dinosaur. Okay, cool. There's another scene where the sheriff is, like, making eggs, and he cracks one. There's, like, black fluid where the egg white would be, and then he cracks another one. There's, like, a tiny little dinosaur embryo, and it's like, he brings it to Raven, and they investigate. They're like, what the hell is this thing? Anyway, in Raven's waiting room, there's, like, a shit ton of, like, really sick people, too, and they all have the same affliction, I guess. But it doesn't really matter, because the hazmat cleanup team comes in and shoots the doctor and all the patients and everything, so they're out of the picture, so that's good. Meanwhile, yeah, dinosaur is trying to break out. It gets out, it's walking down the streets, whatever, heading towards the quarry, which, at this point, Doc has returned. There's a scene where the sheriff gets attacked by a raptor and, like, shoots it, and it goes down, but just before he's about to blow its head off, it, like, raptor claws through his chest, and then he uses the last bit of energy to shoot the thing's head off. So, like, the raptor one's dead, but the T-Rex one is out there somewhere, so that's cool. Again, Jurassic Park, raptors, T-Rex, the two big ones. Surprised they didn't put a Dilophosaurus in it, but whatever. Yes, T-Rex is out. He's going to the quarry. She's sickly. There was, like, a raptor attack on her trailer too while she was in there, and she got away. I can't remember if she killed it or not. I don't know. It might have been the same raptor that got killed by the sheriff. I don't remember. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, she's sick. She's in the thing. He's back there treating her, and she's like, yeah, this dinosaur highway, there's, like, a, you know, evolutionary memory of this thing, so, like, it's, like, drawn to it, not because it remembers it, but because, like, it's like how birds migrate south. They just know that that's where they're supposed to go through, like, their biology tells them. So I guess this thing knows that this dinosaur highway thing is where it's supposed to go. Sure, why not? Anyway, it shows up. Doc puts Thrush in one of the bobcats and tells her to go, and he gets in another one. He's going to fight this Carnosaur. So, yeah, bobcat comes back. Maybe not the animal form, but still we're talking about bobcats in this movie because that's, a thing. He's fighting the Carnosaur and this bobcat. It tips over the thing. It has like a clamp thing. So, I mean, he's trying to like grab the T-Rex, but T-Rex just bites it and flips it over. And as Thrush is driving away, she sees and she's like, all right, I gotta go save the day, I guess. So she does. She saves the day. She rams into it and like pierces its leg a bit, and the thing roars and gives Doc time enough to like scramble to his feet and get into the bobcat because Thrush is still sick, so she's like barely conscious. She's doing everything she can. He takes over the controls, ends up disemboweling the T-Rex, and then knocks it down to the ground. Oh my god. Ugh. And then as the T-Rex dies, his one-liner is, I hate wildlife. Like, I can't make this shit up. Anyway, don't worry, we're almost done. So he takes Thrush back to the trailer, and she's looking pretty rough or whatever. He has the serum, though, so he's going to administrate it, but he hears the radio go off, and it's the military or the cleanup squad or whatever. He's like, oh my god, yes, we're okay. We're both in the quarry. We're in the trailer. We're good. She's sick. Come. So they do come. And they just blow him the fuck away. So there's our main character and our other main character just shot, riddled with bullets. And then, to make matters worse, they like flamethrower the entire trailer. And you see their bodies burning. And the serum bottle explodes and smashes. And a picture of Alfred E. Newman from like Mad Magazine, you see it burning too. And they like focus on it. Sure, that's a choice. And then the credits roll. Fun fact, the credits roll from like the bottom, instead of from the bottom up, they go from the top down, so it's like credits, then all the names. That was kind of an interesting choice. That's the movie. That was a film that was filmed with a budget, I think it had like an $800,000 budget, and like, oh boy. So, let's get the rating out of the way. It's not good. Like, I think it has a cult following, but like, it's one of those movies, it's not even, I can't put it in a so bad that it's good type movie. Like Cursed, for example, I enjoyed it because it was silly, because it was so bad that it was good. This was just so bad that it was bad. So, I mean, this is going to be my first rating that's below 5, and I'm going to give this one, oh boy, I'm going to give it a 3.7. It's awful. Honestly, you know what? Sure, watch it just so you know what I'm talking about, so you can see what like a really not good movie is. I wanted to like it because I like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are cool, and I remember seeing this when I was a kid, and I never saw it until like many years later. But I was like, oh, it's a cool T-Rex. I got to see this. Yeah, you're not missing anything if you don't watch it. Like, Jurassic Park came out the same year. Infinitely better. Such a good movie. Carnosaur, you could skip it. The T-Rex animatronic was like not very good. It was kind of like, those like putt golf courses or whatever where they have like robot dinosaurs who kind of move like this a little bit. It was essentially that. The tail was way too small. Like, I guess they ran out of budget for the tail, so they made it really small and thin, and it is a bad movie. That's all I got to say about it. Yeah, so that's my rating and that's my review, and you can skip this one. All right, bye.